I went for my favorite cardigan patterns on Ravelry and picked the ones I can't stop thinking about. And some of these are so good, I almost wish I hadn't found them. So if you're looking for cardigan patterns that are actually worth knitting, get comfy, because these are the ones I would choose. Hi there and welcome. My name is Luisa, but everybody calls me Lu. And today I want to share some cardigan patterns I've been coming back to lately. There are textured pieces, everyday staples, more structured designs, and a few relaxed throw-on options. So basically a mix of everything I think actually works in a real wardrobe. And this is not going to be a super technical breakdown of every single detail, and more my thoughts on each pattern, what I like about them, why I think they work, who I think they suit, and the overall picture they give me when I look at them. I'll link all of the patterns in the description down below, as well as the Ravelry bundle I created if you want to browse through everything. So let's get into the first one, because this is one I genuinely cannot stop thinking about. And the Pauline Cardigan, I hope I pronounced it right, by Kolibri by Johanna is the most interesting construction in the whole list. And it's a raglan, but not the standard raglan construction, a more out-of-the-box approach to it, because it is knit diagonally and the diagonals meet in the middle of front and back and in the sleeves. The pattern page doesn't show the back, which would have been nice to see how this design works with the diagonals meeting, but project pages show that section really well. It's the kind of project that can make knitting exciting again, and I like almost all color combinations I saw in the projects tab on Ravelry, especially the one with a beige main yarn and bright red stripes that really caught my eye. If you're bored of classic, basic cardigans, this is such a fun switch, and the code for yarn is Fiocolana Arveta, which is a sock yarn, and Fiocolana Tilia, which is their mohair base. This is my favorite yarn combo by far, and this project is knit at a worsted weight gauge. But I think based on the construction, it can be a bit hard to make adjustments to the fit as we go, depending on what we want to change other than length. But sometimes it's nice to do something a bit different, so I think this is a wonderful option for spring. And next up is Milton by Locatelli. This just screams spring to me. It is light, it's airy, it's an easy layering piece, and it's like a different take on a classic stripe design, mixing solid and a see-through fabric, which is what really stands out. The shape of this design is also really nice because it mixes a saddle shoulder, a narrow saddle shoulder, with a subtle shawl collar to add a little spice to it. And I think this is perfect if you want an easy throw-on layer that still feels intentional. I can see it in literally any color, and I think of it as the perfect layer to bring with me when spending the day outside, just to be prepared in case it gets a bit cool out of nowhere, because here where I live this happens very often in the spring. I saw that some knitters used different colors for the stripes, and others even used a gradient yarn, and everything looks really nice in this design. And like I said, it is perfect for a windy spring and summer day, and this project is knit at a sport weight gauge. Now the third pattern I want to show you is the Bindweed by Ksenia Naidyon, and I'm really sorry because I'm almost certain I pronounced this name wrong. But this design feels soft and it's a more delicate romantic look. If you like a simple body and more action on the sleeves to not feel stuck on Sleeve Island, I think this is a perfect project for you. It has slightly vintage vibes, but it's not too loud. The pattern photos are just stunning, And this is a simple design, but it doesn't feel boring at all, thanks to the cables running along the front. I think they really help with that. It is a raglan construction, but this one features bubbles, which really surprised me because I don't usually like the look of bubbles in my knitting, but this one really caught my eye, and I would add length to this design. This is one modification I know I would make because this is a really cropped design and I'm not that into cropped fits. But this project also features an open front and it is knit at a DK weight gauge. Now the next cardigan really surprised me. It is the Darling Cardigan by Veronika Lindberg. And this is my ideal everyday cardigan. And the reason why it surprised me is because this pattern has been out for a few months, if not a whole year now, and it never really caught my eye because all of the samples she showed, she used a really fluffy yarn like brushed alpaca or something like that. It always looked nice, but it never really made my eyes shine until she needed another sample using, I think it's Cardiff Cashmere Classic. She used a really soft, creamy yarn and it changed the whole look of this sweater, in my opinion. And well, I felt drawn to it. This piece features a balanced silhouette with dropped shoulders and a not too low v-neck with 4 buttons. I really like having 4 buttons in my cardigans because with 3, sometimes you feel like the center front here is too short, and I don't get that when I add 4 buttons to my cardigans. I don't know if it makes any sense, but it's the way my mind works. And I think this design is a really reliable wardrobe staple. If you want one cardigan that goes with everything, I think this is it. It is knit at a bulky weight gauge, but it's still very much wearable, and it calls for a fluffy brushed alpaca yarn. There are many nice options out there, but it's also really nice to look for inspiration from other knitters. I think I would choose a cotton wool blend for a more summer appropriate project, but the fluffy texture is also lovely. So I don't really know. I fell in love with the non-fluffy option, so I guess I would stick to that. Now the next cardigan is the Rainy Day Cardigan by Sari Nordlund. This is an old favorite of mine. It's exactly what I mean by simple with a twist. This project features a classic stockinette fabric with a simple cable down the raglan increases. It is the perfect first cable project if you want something interesting without much effort and low risk of doing something wrong. I know I would have a lot of fun picking a bright summer color for this project, which is really easy to do with a DK weight gauge. I already have my eyes on a poppy blue yarn, but it's just an idea for now. And this is one of the only round neck cardigans I actually like. I'm not really into round necks, I don't know why. I usually go with a v-neck for cardigans, but this one, well, I can't wait to cast this on. And next up is the Haruno Cardigan by Shimizu. This looks so fun and it feels different from the rest. According to the pattern page, Haruno means Springfield in Japanese, so it's the perfect pick for the season. And the shape of this design is also really nice, with a back longer than the front, which is achieved by doing short rows. If you're like me and prefer to have the front and back panels with the same length, maybe we could skip the short rows? I don't know, I would have to check the pattern for that, but maybe it's an idea. I wouldn't choose this if twisted rib was not my cup of tea though, because yes, the lace is unique, but it's twisted stitches galore as well. I love twisted stitches, twisted rib, but I know it's not for every knitter out there. Now, if you're looking for something a bit different in your wardrobe, I think you just found it. And this project is knit at a sport weight gauge. And the next cardigan I want to show you is another design by Kolibri by Johanna, but this one is the jean cardigan. I will cast this on soon. I had dreams about this cardigan, and this is my sign that I need to cast it on. This project features a balloon sleeve shape and a V-neck that creates a light and slightly airy look. It feels feminine and delicate thanks to the lace, and I think this is a perfect palette cleanser. A relaxing raglan construction, DK weight gauge, so we can have a lot of fun with this project. I think this is perfect if you want something lighter but still interesting, and I even have the yarn for it. I chose a kind of a bit darker than sky blue color. It's more of a cross between blue and green, and I can't wait to cast it on. The next project is the Like a Cloud cardigan by Locatelli. This is like pure comfort, knitting energy. It is soft, cozy, it has a relaxed silhouette, but still spring appropriate, and the shape feels very forgiving in this fingering weight gauge. What stood out to me was the basket weave-like texture, but this one looks more delicate than many other patterns out there. I don't know if it's actually basket weave or not, but at least to me it looks like it, and I think this is a perfect project if you want something to pick up, knit a few stitches and put it down. We don't have to figure out where we are in the pattern. Just sit, relax, knit for a bit and not get bored because that is also important. I think I would choose a soft, slightly fuzzy yarn just to guarantee maximum cozy effect if I were to cast this on. And the next pattern I want to show you is the Stria. This is by Andrea Maury. This is a more well-known pattern, and for a reason. It is easy to wear, super squishy fabric thanks to the fisherman's rib stitch pattern, which adds texture to this project, and it also features stripes, but somehow everything works well together, and really well that is. So if you want something a bit more engaging to knit, this is it. The stitch pattern combined with a fingering weight gauge will guarantee you many hours of knitting ahead of you. So this is a long-term commitment, but if you're up for it, I think it's worth it. I find stripes almost necessary here to keep motivation alive because we can see the progress we are making every time we get to a new stripe. I think a gradient yarn would look gorgeous here as a contrast color, but in the projects tab on Ravelry we can see many nice versions of the Stria cardigan. Now, I wouldn't choose this if I got bored easily with projects. It is not my case, but I know it's the case of many knitters out there, especially because, well, this is fisherman's rib in a fingering weight gauge, so this is a labor of love. And the next pattern is the Leith Cardigan by Rebecca Clow. I already talked about this pattern here on the channel, but I just love it. This is where we can have a lot of fun playing with color and stash busting, which is always nice. If you want a more springy project that is simple but not boring, this would be my pick. It features a simple intarsia technique to spice it up a notch, but if this is your first intarsia project, I think it's easy to get a neat fabric in the end without much trouble. It feels light and fresh in this worsted weight gauge, and it's also a quick project, so bonus for that. I think this is perfect for having flexibility with our knitting and letting creativity speak. since we can choose anywhere from 2 to 5 colors or even more if we feel like it. Play with different yarn textures like boucle yarn and a non-fluffy yarn to make up the stripes, or play with different widths for the stripy pattern. This is actually what I think I would do. I think I would knit in one color, in one main color, and maybe one contrast color, but mixing different widths for the stripes. Like I've seen another knitter doing in the projects tab on Ravelry, so this is not my idea, but I came across her project page and I fell in love with this idea, and I would highly recommend to go check it out. And the next pattern is the Peach Bourbon Tea by Thea Coleman. I keep coming back to this for the texture. It has more depth than other patterns, and I think it's perfect for cooler spring days in this DK weight gauge. This pattern features a mix of different cable motifs, and it really stands out, but it's not overly heavy. It has a dropped shoulder construction that allows the cable columns to stay intact, and they continue from top to bottom, making it slightly lighter than regular cabled garments, I would say. I think this project is perfect if you're looking for that "I can't believe you made this" effect, but I would lean away from orange if casting this on, just to avoid looking too autumnal, but any color works here, and I love a good rusty color, but since we are talking about spring and maybe summer, I would lean away from oranges this time. And the next cardigan is the Olive Cardigan V-neck by Pernille Larsen. This one feels like a quiet texture staple garment, and what really stands out is this olive lace stitch pattern. It is light, it's soft, it's airy according to the pattern page at least, and it is knit at a Aran weight gauge. If you're looking for something with texture, but not flashy and still wearable on a regular basis, if not every day, I think this is the perfect project. The shape, the lace, the ripped edge, and the double knit button band gives a timeless look to this piece, but I wouldn't choose this if lace was not for me, especially because it is charted only if I read the pattern page right. I can picture it in a light, soft color to keep the elevated, timeless look. And now the second to last pattern is the COOMO Cardigan by Anke Strick. I don't know if the right way to pronounce this is COOMO or COOMO. I don't know, but it's this cardigan here. And this one feels more structured and polished, knit at a DK weight gauge. It has a slight jacket-like silhouette that really stands out, especially with this fisherman's rib texture and the crossed back neck detail. If you're looking for something a bit more elevated, I think this is a great pick, and I loved the light gray color from the pattern sample, which really surprised me because I don't usually like this shade of gray, but this time around it looks so nice. Now, the last pattern I want to show you is the Villa Wrap by Anne Wenzel. This is not a classic cardigan, which is exactly why I had to include it. The shape feels like a wrap. Well, I guess that was the idea based on the name of this pattern. But if you're looking for easy, low effort texture, this is perfect because it is moss stitch combined with columns of knit stitches. It feels like a layering statement piece that is the most comfy to wear. I have been daydreaming about this cardigan for so long, but I don't have yarn in my stash for it and I can't decide on a color, so I'm waiting for inspiration to strike. It will come to be one day, hopefully soon, but well, in the meantime, I will keep dreaming about this cardigan. And okay, those were all the cardigan patterns I've been loving lately. I would love to know which one was your favorite, or if you have a cardigan pattern you really love, because I'd be happy to add more to my list of dream knits. And thank you so much for watching and spending some time with me. If you enjoyed this video and feel like sticking around, I would love for you to subscribe and give it a like. It really helps the channel and I really appreciate. I will see you next week with a fresh new podcast episode. And until then, happy knitting. Bye!